Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. We're glad you're here. We have a little technology problem today. Jessica is joining us, but she's frozen. So she's going to be commenting in chat, and then we'll incorporate her comments into our conversation. We were going to talk today about families and being with them in the holidays and how we get triggered all the time when we're with family. Even no matter how much we grow and change, that there's the triggers that get us. And then I woke up this morning and I decided, no way, I do not want to talk about it all the time. And I don't want to put my positive energy or any more negative energy toward that. Um, I had a good time with my family, but the triggering is always there, right, at different times. And so anyway, Ramie, or rather Ramie's husband, came up with a good subject of having New Year's resolutions. And Ramie, I'll let you take it from there, how you responded to his suggestions about New Year resolutions.
Well, good morning, everyone, or afternoon, or wherever you are from. So I was talking to my husband, and I told him that there's my podcast, and there's three of us, and I said, I don't know what to talk about. And he goes, what did you talk about last week? And I said, oh, yeah, teas, cookies. And he goes, we'll talk about New Year's resolutions, and that lit me up. I thought, that's a great topic. So here we are, close to New Year's Eve. And the year is coming to an end, and we're going to celebrate. And then what everyone usually does is sets the stage for New Year's resolutions. And I think it's a good intention, but I don't set I don't set New Year's resolutions. I found out early in my life that I can make them, but I rarely follow through. Now, I don't think I even made it to January 15th. Who knows what I set out to do. But I am going to consider intentions this year instead of resolutions, because as you know, or don't know, but energy follows intention. So I think, wow, because I see it all the time in my coaching and yoga classes, that it is true. If you set your intention, usually it comes to fruition, and that's 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 what I'm going to do. I'm going to set some intentions. Um, I haven't thought about them yet, except I'm going to try to financially double my money this year. Be kinder, be nicer. I don't know. I haven't set my intentions, but I'm just thinking about it because I never thought of it before. So, what's your point of view, Carla? Do you want to set your intentions, or are you going to do New Year's resolutions, or nothing, extraordinary?
I set intentions with every um, new moon and with every full moon. Um, and I always have the same overriding, I guess you could call it, intention that I know that all of us from our spirits have, that often our mind does not tap into, has no um, awareness of, and that is to know our oneness with God, with universal spirit, with the universe, however you feel, that to know that oneness, that we can never be separated, and to know the fullness of that. Eh, Um, so that continues to be my overriding one, uh, but yeah, I will probably set intentions too. The full moon was this past um, Tuesday. Yeah, it was just Tuesday, the day after Christmas. And the last few times I've set intentions, it was more in alignment with the spirit's intention, just to follow the guidance I received, to follow my all those desires of how to of that come to me in creativity and in reaching out to people or in my business, to follow what I know comes from my heart or my spirit, not just what my mind um, is pushing me to do, right? Because I think the word New Year's resolutions, the word resolution kind of brings in that pushing, doesn't it? Where it's perhaps the energy of, you need to do it or you should want to do it, so you're making yourself, go taking the steps you need to push yourself to do something. Whereas the word intentions automatically has a different spirit to it, a different attitude or energy behind it, right?
Right.
That
Resolutions, I think of resistance. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Immediately. Immediately. I guess because it's such a strong word, isn't it? Resolution. I'm going to be blah, blah, blah. And I don't know, that already sets a resistance. And I think we need to honor our resistance.
yeah, and do that by not pushing ourselves to resist.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right, right.
yeah.
You know what? I was listening to a podcast yesterday about the lady who works with angels. I can't think of her name, but her book is Angels in My Hair. She's written 7
Hmm,
books about angels, and she works with them all the time. And listening to her, she doesn't even, well, when she first started writing her first book, she doesn't even read and write. But the
hmm.
angels, you know, downloaded all the information through her, and she typed it up. Now, isn't that amazing? And I think she reads
Ye
and writes now because she has 7 books, but she didn't read it. She's in Ireland. She didn't even read and write. And she had
Wow.
a really hard family life in the beginning. I don't know why she sees angels since birth, but um, yeah, I thought that was interesting how a book came through her and she didn't even read and write. I mean, so yeah, she was talking about setting her intention to learn to read and write. So that was interesting. And
Okay.
if I told you her name, I think you would know it. She's been
Hmm,
around forever. Uh,
hmm.
Angels in My Hair is her latest book. So, and she was saying the 3 things that one needs to do is to, number one, be aware of what you're doing, set your intention, and 2, notice the resistance. Notice the
Mm,
resistance and be friendly with it or explore it. Why am I resisting? What's pushing me back? Or and then number 3 is to execute the plan or the intention. But I never thought of that. I never thought to dive in to my resistance. And I think that's a good idea because you could find
yeah,
out more about yourself.
yeah,
Why?
I think so.
Yeah. So,
Well, and I'm it makes me think I should, or it maybe would be a good thing, not shoulda, woulda, couldas, but to my resistance this morning to review my topic of, being triggered when you're around family or something. Why am I resisting that today? But
well,
I
because
think,
you don't want to be triggered, right, on your podcast. right? Or do you think that's good?
Yeah, I don't want to be triggered in life, right? But
Right, yeah, forget the triggers. You're right.
but that's how we
But,
grow too, right? When we become
it
aware of the triggers
right, right,
and find ourselves at that choice point, right? Of realizing, oh,
right,
I can react this way, or I can choose to act how I want to act, right? And follow my
right,
intention.
but that's the ticket right there. When you notice you are triggered, I rarely stop. Rarely. I'm usually in it, and I don't stop and go, "Oh, I'm triggered." I think if I did stop and say, "Oh my God, here I am triggered again," and then I could maybe break it down or find a chunk of it or a piece of it and go, "What is all that about?" But usually when I'm triggered, I'm usually in it and let the ball roll however it may, right? And then afterwards, then I can, discern what went wrong or what went up or down. But usually when I'm in it, I'm in it. So awareness
Right.
is key.
Over the holidays, it was like the first day I was there. I had traveled to stay with many other family members at my mother's house, and it was all good. I mean, we were all close. We're all on friendly terms, but it was like that. It was the first like 3 hours, maybe after the first 3 hours, and then it was when I found myself triggered, and I realized I was triggered, and so I don't think I acted on triggering. I sat there trying to work myself back into, feeling in myself that triggering and knowing it was and trying to work with it while I was in conversation or sitting around with other people. And eventually I was able to um, get centered and again. And then the next couple days, I didn't have the triggering feeling that I did. Um, this morning, waking up though was a trigger about something I wasn't triggered about, but now I'm triggered. So I guess it takes time to have all that, uh, you know, get processed within us
Right.
in different ways.
Yeah. In the process, you know the way you usually respond and trigger, right? But I usually have to stop and process it. Like, what could I have done different? What could I do next time? Yeah, it's hard to manage your trigger while you're in the situation and bring it back to your center because
Yeah.
that's a big deal, right? And then it depends on if anyone's talking to you or not. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
yeah, it's just I'm going. And I've learned to keep quiet at least. I shut down when I get triggered. And that's okay because I don't need to go on and on and on. I don't need to engage in that behavior because my family, when we get triggered, they start yelling
Mm,
because they're so mad. And I know better than to even touch that because they're just talking. And I remember being so triggered that I would cry because I took it so personal. But I've learned that it's not even about me, really. Well, it could be about me, but it's just that old response, and it's something they haven't worked out. And of course, I offer my services to my family, and they don't want it.
mhm.
So oh, crazy. It's crazy. But sometimes they will, but it's after the trigger is gone. That is for sure. But yeah. Are you the, Mom, you can't fix it. Yeah, we can. We can talk about it. So, yeah,
Not
that's
with
even
you.
another trigger. Right. So, yeah,
Yeah.
triggers really do kind of um, equate to New Year's resolutions, back to that. You know, um, I don't know about a resolution, but my intention could be to maybe listen more and be more compassionate, especially with my family, because I know what it is when we're all triggered. And it's just a family pattern that someone's got to break. Um, Usually not at the time of escalation, but it's nice uh, for me to break it down on my own. And then next time, because it only takes one person to respond differently. And then maybe the others will look at it and go, "What happened to you?" Because you're not reacting like you normally do, which is true. Which is true. Uh, I did that with my son once. He went off on a tangent because I said something, and I just really held space for him. And I was so proud of myself because he was going on and on. And then I just held space, and he literally stopped, walked out the door, came back in. He goes, "I don't know what happened, Mom, but I'm sorry." Whoa. That was so different for us, because I didn't engage. And so that's my intention, not to engage in my family's drama. That's going to be uh, an intention this year. Yeah.
Yeah, or one of the ones I'm sure almost everybody has or many people have is what I'm feeling this morning too is like, I want to get my diet back to something more healthy. And so it's like the last maybe what a day or two before Christmas, then all the neighbors start bringing in goodies, to share as a way of uh, gifting or sharing sharing Christmas greetings. And so we have the house full of goodies, and then we go somewhere where all you do is sit around and eat and sit around and eat. and
Yeah.
and it's all good, but then you bring some of that home with you, or then more neighbors bring other stuff when you get back. And for me it's the sugar. I have am always resisting or trying to resist or feeling I should resist my sweet tooth. I would like to get to the point of not wanting the sweets or be able to have one thing, right? One piece, one bite. And so every year I start out thinking, okay, I'm going to um, not do the sugar this year. And then I find myself doing sugar. And so then by May or June, it's like, okay, I'm going to do this no sugar. And I do okay for a while, a few weeks. And then you get into again, things out of routine so that it's around the house more. And then my intentions are out the window and I'm eating tons of sugar, and then another few months and I hold that intention again and do okay for a couple weeks, and then it's holidays. It's
Right.
like every
Right.
year. Every year I try to do better on the sugar thing, right? Because it's a I don't I know it's not healthy for me, but yet I enjoy it. So I don't want to like give it up completely. I want to be able
Right.
to just be able to stop when I know it's good for me, right?
Well, setting your intention to, which is my intention, and I'm sure Jessica agrees. Sugar, I love it. But I do notice when I do eat it, I guess we could all monitor our um, our input on sugar, because I think it's in everything. It's hard to be sugarless. I mean, they put it in everything. Um,
Hmm.
but I mean, do you really go all like someone brought over a dozen cookies? Do you eat all dozen at once? No, right?
Oh,
Or do you?
well, not all the dozen, but quite a few.
Yeah, and you don't have them around unless someone brings it over, right?
Usually, unless I can't
Yeah,
resist and make my own or something, right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
It's I have a sugar addiction. I do. I've
yes,
had
if you
that
want to.
all my life, right? So I try
Yeah,
cooking with honey or making things with honey, and that's a big improvement. Or sweetening
yeah,
with bananas, or apples, other things like that. And it is a big improvement. So that most of the time, it's not too bad. It's just those, holidays are hard starting
yeah.
Halloween, basically, right?
Oh,
Especially if you have kids at home or whatever, then you have candy from there through Valentine's Day. That's almost half the year
right.
when America's anyway, I can't speak for other countries, when all those holidays together push all this sugar, right? And I wonder, it has to be part of an agenda. Right? Yes, it
Right.
plays into our own weakness, but it has to be part of the programming. We're easier to control that way, right? Or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm just making it up. Maybe it's just because I'm weak in that area.
Well, goodness. It's okay.
But
Yes,
again,
I,
that it goes back to intentions, right? Having the
right.
intentions.
To be more
Yeah.
mindful when you do eat sugar, if you remember, that's it. I think for me, sometimes I just spin right back to the old pattern, you know, I'm going to eat. But I do find that I don't eat nearly as much as I used to, even if it's something sweet. I mean, I can only, I used to eat a bag of cookies and now I can have three or four and that's enough. I think I'm more aware of the sugar overload because I'll
Hmm.
feel it in my body, and then I have to stop because there's that imbalance. I feel the imbalance of the sugar. It
Right.
heightens. Yeah, and then I'll go yuck. I
Hmm.
and then if I think about it, I'll go get something with protein because that'll calm my system down, and um, and then I'm back on track because when I notice if I just eat sugar and then a couple hours later more sugar and more sugar and more sugar, that's not good. And then I get real moody. Sugar makes me
Hmm.
depressed, and then everything goes out the window. But if I can catch it with protein, uh, it balances my what gut energy, and I'm back on track. Yeah, so that's my intention. I'm going to try to be
But
mindful of eating sugar.
the but I sit here, thinking about, well, I should do an intention for sugar, and in some ways I want to, but I have great resistance because I know I'll fail, right?
Ah,
And um,
okay, but that's what we could, that's what we have to look at. That's exactly what we.
yes,
Okay,
you got to be
and
honest, right?
yeah, honesty, because okay, number one, none of us. Well, I can speak for myself. I can't say I'm not going to do sugar this year. That is not even in my you know environment. I'm not even going to say that.
Hmm.
So I am going to be mindful of eating sugar, and hopefully awareness is key. Awareness is key. So I'm going to go with that. So okay, it's take the word of failing out of that equation, Carla, and just be mindful. Because
Mm.
you're gonna eat it. You know, uh, you just have to regulate how many pieces. I think if we're aware, then we can't go like I used to eat the whole bag or the whole cake or the whole whatever. And I think once you're mindful, then you cut it down. So that's all we can hope for, I think, personally. Because I know that I cannot go without sugar because it's in everything, and I do enjoy it. And well, anyway, that's where I'm at with my sugar intake. I mean, for me to tell you that I'm not going to eat any sugar this year is hogwash. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I accept it. I'm just going to be more mindful of it, though. Yeah, which is a trigger, which is an intention. So we cover both our bases. You got
Right.
anything, Jessica? Maybe she'll write in because she's the nurse and she's the health expert. Yeah, because she knows all about the gut, which is your second brain. Yeah, it's pretty important not to have sugar. And I do know that uh, cutting or switching to organic is really healthy. And I feel good when I eat really good, and then I mess it up with a chocolate bar or something. you know, but it's
But
okay. Moderation. That's what moderation, I guess, is key. Yeah.
sugar is a big thing, but it's also very minor in this. It's both, right? In
Right.
itself, the conversation just of resisting sugar is a very minor in the scope of your life, right? On other ways, it incorporates so much that it's a big issue. Also, in my personal growth journey, right? It's like sometimes I have gotten get to the point. I should say it's not just in the past. Sometimes it still happens, and I get so tired of always working toward improving, right? Um,
Right.
always being the person to take those steps to push myself to because I want to be positive ones instead of negative ones. And I think that probably, although with the sugar, if you do, um, uh, uh, like some people have to do without sugar that or have really bad diabetes or something like that, and somehow they're able to avoid sugar or do without sugar most of the time. But for many of us, including myself, it's a continual struggle and probably will be um, a lot of my life. And hopefully, I'll keep making small steps. But my point is that our life journey, our personal growth, our spiritual growth, and even our growth toward physical improvements, or at the very least, to try to stay healthier longer as we get older, is is a continual journey, right? There is no like end to it. If
Oh
that's
no.
your heart's desire, you're going to keep working, and um, I guess it really helps to remember when you feel discouraged about not making progress or continually needing to work on things or put the effort into things, is that we're even perhaps with the sugar, we're not just doing it for ourselves, right? We're doing it perhaps as an example to others, um, because it improves our lives, or in some ways continuing to change the old patterns, like you had Ramie had said earlier, that your son noticed your change, and it changed a big pattern, right?
Mhm.
And it's like
Right.
we by changing ourselves, even in the little tiny ways, but consistent change changes the world too, right? And so
Yeah,
sometimes it helps to
yeah,
have
yeah.
a bigger focus, um,
Right.
that we're doing it for a cause much bigger than ourselves.
Well, yeah, speaking about that, that's so number one is be aware of my sugar intake. Number two, be aware of my family triggers or any triggers. Just to be mindful of, just to be mindful. I guess that's my whole intention this year, is to be mindful of my triggers, my sugar, my reactions, and not react. Kind of take a breath, take 3 deep breaths, and just watch, because that's where you unravel that program, like you were saying, like I did. It's just like, whoa, this person is, whoa, off the charts with anger, with frustration. And obviously, because they just haven't worked it out yet. And I personally would like to work with you. Why do you trick? Why, what are the steps or what is the pieces that make that trigger? That's what I do. And I don't understand why people don't want to unravel that. But that's why we're doing what we do, right? So I've got my intentions already made just by and that's it. Speaking about it is so healthy. I don't know if I'm going to um, magically do this January 1st, but I'm setting my intention today. So I'm going to see what happens, because personally, I do want to be focused, calm, and relaxed throughout the day. And of course, there's triggers. And then I'm going to try to be very mindful of working out the pieces or finding that golden nugget. Why am I triggered? And hopefully I can make some peace with that. And I think that's all we want to do, is be more peaceful in our daily lives, and that's a good thing, I think. Yeah.
How do you stay more mindful, or how do you notice those things within you? Like I really enjoy listening to a lady called Dr. Sue Morter is her name, and
Yeah,
she calls it keeping one eye on the inside.
yeah, yeah.
That
Okay.
awareness of how your body feels, how you can tell when you're tense in one area, or where you can actually physically feel the resistance or whatever emotion, the anger or whatever. I guess many emotions can be boiled down to resistance, right?
When you set your intentions, number one is to be aware. Awareness is key. That is a great gift. If you are aware of what you are thinking, saying, and doing, you're already there. Okay? Because it's when we don't think and we're just going on and not even being aware of our triggers. And then once you notice them, like I said, um, you can break them down. You can maybe pause, take some breaths. You can journal. You can walk. You can start to think, what is this that is triggering me? And then, of course, in my sessions, we can go into a light trance, and it's always back in childhood. Is it your mom's voice you hear? Is it your dad's voice? Where do you feel that feeling? And then in the body doesn't lie, because if you feel it in your gut, then it's a reactionary from your childhood that hasn't even been processed. So it's being mindful. Number one, be aware, be mindful. And then number two, um, notice the resistance. Why don't you want to clear it? And that's what bothers me. I don't understand why people don't want to work with that. I know it brings up pain, sorrow, people cry, people get mad, but it's only that session. It's only that hour. It's amazing what you can clear in an hour of lifetime, of your whole life. In 1 hour, you can clear it. And that's what I love about life coaching, because I can see that they have shifted out of that old program. And once you see that shift, you're like, whoa, that is so cool. And then, of course,
Yeah.
we have to keep revisiting it. It's not, sometimes it just vanishes. Woohoo. But sometimes you're aware that it keeps appearing. And then every time it appears, you keep doing something to nurture that resistance, because it's the wounded child. And that's another podcast. But we're all
It is.
wounded. We're all wounded. We came here to be wounded. We came here to be in the experience. So number one is awareness. That's what I would suggest. And you could do that you could record on your phone, like I'm being triggered and I'm trying to decipher it and clear it. You could write about it. You could just hold it in your palms and just go, I'll work on this later because I don't want to be triggered right now. Number one, awareness. Be aware that you do not want to react like that anymore. You want to be the better version of yourself, because it flows better, it goes better, you feel better. It's all about feeling good. So there's my suggestion.
Yeah. Very good. So, thank you everyone for listening. We're going to close now. We encourage you to give thought to um, any intentions you may have, not just for for January 1st, but to have these intentions, because our minds are very powerful and our hearts are even more so. And we have much control over our lives, even if I can't control eating a cookie or two. Overall, it's our choices, and we can change them. And so,
Absolutely. So
thank you so
happy
much.
New Year. Yeah, thank you, Carla. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, everyone. Happy New Year.
Bye bye.